How's it going, everyone? This is Eflex and welcome back to another A Producer's Approach video. In this video we're going to be looking at Tritonal and Kapera's song Easy featuring Ryann. So if you guys never watched my videos, I basically do an intro section with a backstory. Then after that I do an analysis and breakdown type section, and then at the end I just sum up my overall opinions and give my finishing thoughts to the song. So this is Tritonal song with Kapera, Easy, featuring Ryann. And this song I listened to back in 2019 when it came out on Xketo. You know, Tritonal has been pretty solid, as I mentioned in the past, with their style being pretty similar to what 2012 to 2014 progressive house was. And I mean, I love really that era of progressive house, maybe even into 15 and 16 too, but it started to change a little bit. But this just has that nostalgic vibe to the song, and I don't know, the vocals and the overall feeling of the song is insanely catchy to me. So anytime I see Tritonal now, I normally know their style is going to be within that old school kind of progressive house kind of feel. Not that their style hasn't changed over the years, but you still kind of, at least for me, I still get the nostalgic vibes from listening to a Tritonal song, as I did to a Project 46 song back in 2013 or something, or a Hellberg song in 2013. So it's just really that nostalgic feeling that, you know, I really vibe with in these songs when I listen to them. That's kind of what gravitates me to these songs the most. So overall, that's my mini spiel on this song. And this is Tritonal and Kapera's song Easy featuring Ryann. So let's start listening to it. Alright, so first thing I really like about this song is it might be a radio edit that Xketo uploaded, but the kind of reverse sample that just kind of starts the song is really nice. And then the vocals kind of play are introduced pretty early. There's kind of that kind of arpish sound kind of introducing along with like a pad. And then the thing I really like is the vocals when they play. There's kind of like a glitching sound almost underneath the vocals. I'm not sure if that's like they took a vocal itself and kind of glitched it, or that's like a synth or an audio effect in itself that kind of is underneath the vocal to give kind of like a glitching effect. But it's a really nice pairing with the vocals just to start off the song. So that's definitely one of the elements I really like, just with the vocals in the introduction. So let's keep going. So that section was really cool. Kind of had the synth on the bottom kind of progressing up, and then eventually kind of, I don't know if it exits or, you know, the volume fades down for this next section here, but it kind of just builds the tension and flow of that one kind of progression. I think that might be the sound used in the drop section, so we'll come back to that sound maybe a little bit later in the song. But the percussion is really nice, really clean. It sounds like a little shakering, not really a hi-hat, but something similar to like a shaker, like a tambourine of some sort. So that's really cool, and the vocals were really clean too, nice spacing. So let's keep going. Cool. So it's cool there in that part. The vocals playing, that kind of saw wave progression kind of faded out, but then the percussion changed. It sounds like a snapping sound, which is really cool. And then the kind of tambourine shakes kind of come in every once in a while to kind of accent the flow. And then there's kind of like another sound that's being progressed up, and then it kind of switches into the more standard build up here, and then you kind of hear more high end as it transitions, and then kind of the usual standard traditional build up. But it's just really cool. I want to point out the percussion because that's not like the typical snare and hi-hats you would use. That's more acoustic almost sounding, realistic sounding samples. They might not be, but they just sound, they have a totally different vibe than a typical electronic song. So let's keep going. All right, so that buildup was really cool. So in some sense, it was a more traditional buildup, kind of with a kick, and almost sounds like a little bit of a snare buildup, kind of building up, and then the white noise building up, and then some of the sounds fade out. But in this case, it's kind of like what you would call an off drop. Like the sounds play, like dun, 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 like they play a little bit, and then the kick kind of comes in after that. So I really do like that kind of off drop. It gives almost like a breath of air with some artists too, but instead of actually starting the drop after the breath of air in a sense, or having like the vocal play, like the drop almost already started. It's just like the percussion's playing catch up to the rest of the drop because it already kind of started. So it's a really cool sound, and the intro sound into like this build up section here, like the kind of saw wave sound, is what you're going to be hearing now in this drop section. So let's keep going. All right, so that's the first part of the drop, and I think that might be the total of the first drop, but I could be wrong. That part's pretty cool. Has a very complexo type vibe. Has the saw waves playing the chord progression, and then has some kind of wubby sounds kind of thrown in as well at the end of the phrases, which is really cool. Just kind of gives a different feel. And then after that, the vocal comes in. So it's just cool. This is a progressive house song with some influences from complextro, which is really cool. You don't hear that too often in progressive house anymore. So that's really something cool and notable to note with the song. So let's keep going.
No fear in love. Tell me how it's gonna go down. Got a feeling, baby, don't gotta freak out.
All right, so in that previous section, it was really cool with the vocals. It almost sounded like they were echoing back. So it sounded like they had the vocal play, and then they kind of had a vocal kind of layered underneath where they had it play a little bit after the vocals, so it makes like a manual delay effect, and they lowered the volume a little bit, so it sounded like a more how would you say, a more direct kind of impact for that delay sound. It's more noticeable. There you go. So it's way more noticeable than if you just use like a delay audio effect. And also in that section, the kick is playing as well, but it's like filtered with a low pass filter until it hits into this section where it sounds like either the switch kicks or the filter comes off, because it's like a way lighter kick, but it's not filtered. It sounds more full along with some percussion. So let's keep going.
easy, 'cause that's all that it needs to be. I'll make it easy.
All right, so that section was pretty cool. As I said, there was some drums, percussion playing, the kind of tambourine sound was reintroduced, the kick was playing, the vocals were playing really good. And then this section here, it's really cool. There was like a clicking talk, like a tick-tock kind of clicking from like a clock type sound. It was like click, 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 like tick-tock, tick-tock. They have that playing, as well as the kind of saw wave chord progressions, like kind of coming in every once in a while as it's kind of building up. So that's really cool. I just like that kind of clock effect. Gives a kind of a different flow. That's a similar sound that Velo and I used in our song Stories. We used like a kind of clock effect or audio sample in the kind of break section of the song. So I really like hearing that kind of clock sample used in other songs too. So let's get back to the song. All right, so that was the second drop. Really cool. The build up to that drop was pretty similar to the first kind of build up to the drop. There was kind of a breath of air, but this time it wasn't really that much of an off drop. It sounded like it was kind of a breath of air and then went straight into the drop. This section is really cool. There you kind of hear a lead sound playing in the background, and there's way more use of the vocals in this drop. So there's like different vocal samples, like vocal chops, almost like you thrown in there while the lead's playing and the chords are playing and the percussion's playing. And then towards the end of the drop, there's like a harmonizing vocal that the vocalist had sang, and it just kind of harmonizes with the rest of the drop while the chords and the lead are playing. So just really cool, the use of the vocals in this drop section. He used vocal chops and they used harmonized vocals, which is really nice when you can use both of them in just one section of the drop. So there was a gap in between the drop. There's like a little transition, but the percussion didn't change at all, not like some other songs where they had a hi-hat later, as opposed to the first part where they don't introduce the hi-hat. So it's pretty similar, but this part of the song is really nice because it introduces a new vocal phrase into the song. So really cool. Let's get into it. I really like in that section the vocals. They're a little bit varied. It's a different phrase altogether. Sounds like there's also the bass sound playing that's kind of almost like a bouncier bass, and then you kind of have the plucks playing higher on the higher end, so the vocals aren't taking the higher end of the spectrum. They're actually kind of lower. I almost feel like an octave per se that the singer sang it, but I just like how active the bass was in that section, kind of how bouncy and active it was, and the plucks used in that section, and just, you know, some of the same percussion I think in that section. But it's just really cool. And then now is the build up section into the third part of the drop, so let's keep going. All right, so that build-up was really cool. Had some different effects on the vocals, almost sounded like it was glitching. And then this build-up itself was a little bit more prominent, where it almost sounded like the vocals were filtered out as well, or going through like a vocoder or something, because they sound a lot thinner and everything kind of thins up, and there's like another sound, like a winding sound kind of added to build up that tension. And then there's that breath of air, and then they have kind of the "it should be easy" vocal, but it's kind of like thinner and sounds a little more robotic, like a vocoder's almost on it, and then it drops. But yeah, that build up's really cool. It's a little bit different than the previous two, because this one gives like way more emphasis and tension on this drop, just kind of emphasizing to the listener like this is the last drop. So, and the vocal effects used in that were pretty cool. Almost sounds like it's glitching in a sense. So let's listen to the rest of the song. All right, so the last drop is really cool. Has a lot of complextro elements to it. There's kind of different varied high-end sounds, and then there's a lot of different kind of wub sounds playing, following a chord progression, and then the harmonizing vocals are introduced back in while all the other sounds are still playing, transitioning with like the lead sound playing with the harmonizing vocals, and then the song ends with the vocal phrase "it should be easy." So the percussion itself in the last drop is pretty similar to the previous drops, where it's kind of that more standard kick snare. Sounds like tambourine. Not sure if they use hi-hats for this drop, and percussion. So overall, that was like Tritonal and Kapera song "Easy" featuring Ryann. The main takeaway I think from the song is, even though it's a progressive house song, a lot of the elements within the song are very similar to complextro, with different sounds following a chord progression, almost like AU5's remix of "Be Alright," even though that's drum and bass. Like the kind of style is very similar, to where you kind of throw in different sounds, kind of like complextro, but they all follow like a basic chord progression, and then you can kind of throw vocals in layered, since all those different wubbing sounds and high-end sounds, like different lead shots and one shots, kind of all follow one chord progression. So overall, I really like this song. I like how there's 3 different drops. I like the different varying vocal section leading into the 3rd drop, and then just the complextro elements of the song is great. So overall, this is a really good song. You guys should check out Tritonal. If you guys like this video, leave a like and comment. And sorry for the internet issues with slow internet. Hopefully that wasn't too bad during the video. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good one. Peace.